AI coins are now starting to rip a little bit. The low cap altcoins are ripping a little bit. And in this video, I would like to go over what I expect for potential returns in the next year, because alt season is starting, if it not already started, and the returns are going to be pretty big. So if you're still on the sideline, maybe better next luck next year, but now it is actually happening. We already see it. People already kind of start to miss out on the bottom. We are still close, but oh, we're getting further. And in this video, I would like to do some calculations actually. So this is not a prediction, but this is a video where I think like, hey, it might be good to actually look at what we can expect, because in a full bull market, it has always been the case that people are not bullish enough. And I'm not saying that everything will do 100x whatsoever, but there are also people saying like, yeah, well, maybe this does a 5x, maybe that does a 5x. Is that really like something we should expect, or could it be a little more than that? And also, what altcoins could outperform? So, long intro, but welcome to the Fomo Factory. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, check out the Alpha Factory down below. There is a fat ass Black Friday sale going on right now for the coming couple of weeks. I'll announce exactly when it stops. So do check it out, because again, it's not the Alpha Factory for no reason. A lot of alpha in there. Now let's go over the market. Tomorrow I'm gonna drop a video talking about my exit strategy. I do think that's really important. Not that you should consider exiting the market that just started, but if you don't have a plan yet, yeah, you might want to get a plan, bro. So first, Bitcoin, actually looking pretty good, dude. I mean, it ran up really hard, and it had a small correction of 8%, and now it already had a green candle of 4% yesterday. So, that looks pretty fine. If you look in the last bull market, in around the period where we are right now, November, December, you can also see that Bitcoin had a correction, and this was actually way more. This was a 16% correction, and it recovered in a matter of like, yeah, what was it, 2 weeks, give or take? Yeah, we're now sort of in the same stage, right? Where Bitcoin just goes up, 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 up. And on the way, we will see corrections. But just as returns are diminishing, I also think that the dips are diminishing, because more liquidity in the market, right? And people, they just tend to buy it up faster, of course. Now, the altcoin market doing pretty decent, actually. I mean, today it's a little red day, but overall, yeah, I for some reason still see some people here and there saying that altcoins are dead. And like, it's not too late to admit, bro, that that's nonsense, but you can better do it now than in a couple of months from now, I think. Altcoin market is basically going parabolic for the last 3 weeks. Like, this is pretty much vertical, all right? It's not even diagonal anymore. So the altcoin market is doing very well. At a certain point, we should get a good pullback, definitely. But for now, enjoy the gains, I would say. Most important, again, and I want to take you back to what's going to make most money for your altcoins. And I want to give an example that I gave before, but I do think it's super important to realize why some altcoins are blowing up, because you can then identify if your altcoin might be next. Now, again, if we take a look at one of the examples that I gave earlier, XRP is mooning, right? We look in the weekly chart and we be like, wow, XRP is doing fantastic. Well, long story short, XRP is not doing shit. Look, if you look at XRP on its Bitcoin pair, this is how it looks like, right? I've showed this a couple of times, but I do think that this is really important to realize. XRP is not doing fantastic. It did something, but it did something against a Bitcoin, which is worth 90, 100K. Yeah, and then on the dollar pair, it could look like this, let alone if this is a low cap, right? And this is currently kind of happening with the whole market, and on a very small scale yet. But the move that it's making, that's what we call an alt season. It's where altcoins outperform Bitcoin. Now, of course, there are spikes in the complete last 2 years. And if you would have said like, oh, alt season, nah, of course not an alt season back then. But now it's a little different, as we are also entering the stage of the market in which there is an alt season. And that's cyclical. And I think it's super unwise to still try to fight the trends and say like, nah, everything is going to be the same, but this right here, even though it is the same so far, next month's going to be completely different. Like, what are you doing, right? It's weird. So don't fight the trend, guys. This chart is showing, is it alt season or not? It doesn't bounce from this trend line at the exact same moment as where it bounced over here and here by coincidence, right? Will it come back to this trend line? There's a good possibility. It doesn't really matter. This trend line is still intact, and this is alt season. So this is where altcoins collectively start to outperform Bitcoin. And I'm not talking about the high caps. This is excluding the top 10. Right, so there's everything outside the top 10, and that's now starting to perform against Bitcoin. Now, again, this is a 16% pump, right, over the month. Yeah, what's that, right? It's not a lot yet. Although my portfolio grew crazy this month already. And I think that if you are in the right altcoins and you catch a couple of outperformers, you will do fantastic, right? If you look at the quarterly for the altcoin dominance, it's what I showed in the video of yesterday, but I really quickly want to show you this again, then this is beautiful. The altcoin dominance, if it goes up, it's altcoin season. If it goes down, it's Bitcoin season. Well, basically it has been going down despite, 2 good months right here and one kind of neutral, went down. But yeah, that's what happens in this stage of the market. It happened here as well, from basically the bear market until, yeah, kind of where we really started to go up right here. And what you'll notice is this fat candle happened in the first quarter. This is the 3-month chart, the first quarter of 2021. This is exactly 4 years ago, right? Here, it happened in the exact first quarter of 2017. So Q1, post-halving year, we've been saying that for a long time. That's where alt season usually starts, right? Now, again, not like the confirmation is kind of here because we are almost there and we happen to bounce off of this trend line right here, right? So how far could the market take this and how does this impact our bags, right? So I want to give a couple of examples of altcoins. If you do feel like, dude, can you check out this altcoin? I cannot promise to do that all, but leave them down below and I can take it in one of the next videos. Because, I want to help you out as well to make sure that you have a bag of altcoins that performs well when the whole market does well. Because no, not every altcoin is going to outperform, of course. Now, really quick, I have no idea. I haven't checked this yet, but I do want to check out how the current market is looking and what currently is an outperformer in this market right now. So if we look over the last 24 hours, you can see that that's pretty interesting. Actually, you have Ethereum name service and Ethereum Classic and Ethena. Like WorldCoin is quite newer, but then again, Render, PIF Network, Uniswap. We have these coins again at the top of the top 100 performing quite crazy. So it shows like, hey, the money is still kind of really rotating hard in the top 100. You might look at this and be like, 50%, my $2 million meme coin did a 200%. Look how much market cap has to be added to such a coin to pump 50% in a day. And this is not a hyped coin or whatsoever. So this actually shows that it's not all depending on hype, right? It's not all depending on hype. People look for the utility, where their money is safe, where you can actually do something. What are the losers currently? We have a couple of coins that kind of pumped really hard lately and that now have to cool off. But then again, there are not much losers because we scroll all the way down to the bottom. And here we can already see Polkadot basically at zero, right? Like not really losing. Yeah, we have Algorand down 2%. Yeah, it's up 38% on the week, right? Radium flat, but say Phantom, Sandbox, AVAX, especially Stellar, Lido, they barely have any correction. But look at the pumps on the weekly that they had, right? So it's not even that people just look for a quick flip or anything. This shows like, hey, this pump, it's looking quite sustainable actually. And the rotation is confirmed, right? It happened from Bitcoin and meme coins and maybe some AI. Well, AI is currently still doing well, but that goes into the high caps, right? That goes into the high caps. I'm not saying that that's where you should put your money right now. Definitely not. Because you want to put your money where the money is flowing next. And the high caps, yeah, if I look at this chart, hey, it is still doing pretty well, right? If we look at it on the weekly, it has a small correction and it's still doing pretty well. But I don't think that this chart will keep on going up forever. And I think it will currently have a pretty decent cool off period, actually. And maybe it goes on for a week or two, but it should cool off. And the money is going to flow into the low caps. Now, there are a couple of low caps that are doing fantastic. I mean, it's also, to be honest, because they got wrecked very hard at the beginning as well. If you look, this is a project which is Cookie, and Cookie is a well, it's pretty interesting project actually, and we were in the pre-sale, right? So we bought it over here, and it performed great, right? Even during the times where the whole market was going down, we were able to get in at 2.5 cents. It flew all the way to like 21 cents, and it was sitting at 11, 10, 8, like for a long time. So you could have got your vesting and your initial out easily. And here it was on the pre-sale price, and now it just pumped with 133% like it's nothing. And that's what we're going to see all over the market. So I want to look like, hey, what can we expect for the coming quarter? Again, this is assuming that the coming quarter, like always, will be very beneficial for altcoins. I'm, of course, not betting against it, but I cannot guarantee you anything, right? Times can be different. But again, as long as they are not, it's really unwise to say that they are not and to actually put your money where you think it's not going to be that. But nothing is guaranteed, right? So I'm not going to say there like, this is going to happen. Apart from that, that's one disclaimer. Other disclaimer is as well, USDT dominance. Yeah, still goes like, hey, we're bouncing off of this trend line. Let's see how it does. At a certain point within now and yeah, this one right here took like 4 months. Well, we could get a fat nasty correction. Let me say that. Apart from that, it doesn't really matter if altcoins first pump hard in the meantime and then we get that correction, right? So how could things look for next quarter? Well, this is a calculation that I made before, and this is my bearish target, and this is going to be fun. So the current crypto market is sitting at $3.2 trillion, right? So if you wonder like, if altcoins need to pump, where's the money coming from? Look, the money is already there. There's more money than there was in the last bull market at the top where altcoins completely exploded, right? And you can now say like, well, then why it is different? Because it's now not in altcoins. Because we are not even in the post-halving year yet, right? This is November 2024. Here it was November 2020. This is kind of cyclical where we are right now. And on the chart, it is more around here, right? But here, the money wasn't really in altcoins yet as well. That started in Q1, right? So it's a matter of rotation, actually. The money is already there. The money is there to make you a lot more money than that it made people over here. So let's take a look at that. At the moment, what I'm mostly focusing on when I look at my charts is, again, the dominance for altcoins and looking like, hey, where could this potentially go? And very simply, by looking at the fact that this month we bounced exactly off of this trend line, is confirming to me that this chart is still accurate. Now, that's fucking capital letters bullish as fuck for the people that expect alt season. Because this is the altcoin dominance, it moves up. This whole trend line, it moves up, right? If this is still intact, then it means that there is a very high chance that we move to the upside. Right? We went there twice in this bull market and twice in this bull market. We just confirmed, hey, we're intact again or still. So could it go there once in this bull market? Maybe. But let's stay bearish for a while, right? And then move on to the realistic case scenario. So let's say altcoin dominance moves back to where we were in March. That's the least that will happen, right? Why? Well, this is already where we were in this cycle. Like, this is not macro-wise or cycle-wise. It's impossible to be different because this is just a couple of months ago, right? So let's say we move here. That's around a 16% dominance, right? Let's stay bearish. So the total crypto market is now $3.2 trillion. If we take 16% of that, I can do that from the top of my head, by the way. If we take 16% of that, that's 450 billion, give or take. Let's say 500 billion for the altcoin market, right? That's if we stay here on the total crypto market, no new money flows in. And this chart basically just goes back to where we were in March and not make even new highs, right? That's 500 billion. Well, we're now sitting at 334 billion, right? So what would 500 billion mean? 500 billion would mean that we do another 60%. What is that exactly? 500 billion is kind of back to the previous all-time high, actually, 500 billion. And that's 50% gains from this point. Might think, well, 50% gains from this point, what the hell is that, right? Oh, actually, you want to look at your altcoins again, like, hey, when this thing moves 50%, how much does your altcoin back move actually? And the pump that we just had this month so far was around 58%. So let's say that 50%, right? So you can basically look like, hey, how much did my altcoin gain this month? So let's go back to this one, for example, and let's take it on a monthly, 90%, right? So then you can say like, okay, this might move another 90%. It's kind of how you want to compare things to get a realistic view of what you can expect. Now, again, there were coins moving way, way, way harder. And again, the high cap money flows into the low caps as well, right? So that's a big stimulus for crypto. Now, again, this is by far the most bearish case scenario, of course. Why? It's a combination of the fact that I kind of calculated that no new money is going to flow into crypto at all. Right, so we're in November 2024. It's kind of saying the same as, November 2020, no new money is flowing in from this point, right? Well, from this point, the crypto market gained another 430%, right? Or if you take it from November 2016, which is here, if you said, oh yeah, no new money is flowing in from that point, yeah, the crypto market gained another 6,000%, right? I'm not saying it will gain another 6,000% from this point, definitely not. But I am saying there will be new money in the market, but let's assume it doesn't. And also, like I said, we looked at this chart and I said like, yeah, it could go here again, right? But let me be clear, this move already happened without being an alt season. Why should we only get this move with an alt season, right? And with the rotation currently being confirmed. So no, what I think is way more realistic is actually to say like, hey, if we look back again, trend line is intact for 7 years. If you include this right here, then 10 years. We went to the top here, to the top here, to the top here, to the top here. Let's go at least once to the top there. And that's conservative, right? That's 30%. Okay, that's a lot more realistic, right? 30% of the total crypto market is, let's say, 1 trillion of the current money in the crypto market. $1 trillion, right? Well, $1 trillion for the altcoin market, that's another 3x from this point. Yeah, and that could mean a 6 to, up to 10, 15x, depending on how risky your altcoins are, right? That's still that I feel like, okay, it sounds bullish, but it's not even realistic because, again, we don't look at the fact that there will be new money flowing into the crypto market like there always does. Right now, there are like, there's no way to predict how much that's going to be, at least not by looking at these charts, right? But there are ways that can help you with that. And one of the ways that I like to look at the Fibonacci retracement tools, because that's just mostly that's pretty accurate actually. And if we look where we went in the last cycle, we went to the 4.618. Right now, if we take the Fibonacci right now and we look where the 4.618 is sitting, that's sitting around $11 trillion, right? Sounds like crazy, right? Like, whoa, what the fuck? 11, where's the money coming from? How can? Like, but that's kind of always the case in crypto, right? In a bull market, somebody gives a certain prediction or price point and people be like, what? And then crypto kind of surpasses it by 10x from that point even. That's just what the market does. And so, but let's keep in mind 11 trillion, right? And that's fine. Let's now take a look at another chart that kind of might, back that up. And I want to take a chart for the complete crypto market. Let me see if I can find it right here. Yeah, total crypto market and trend line. So this is also pretty interesting because this curve is how the crypto market moves, right? And under the fair value is usually a good buy. Above the fair value is in a bull market, and we usually get to the upper band. We went to the upper band in this bull market, we went to the upper band in this bull market, and we went to the upper band in this bull market. We didn't get here, but we went way above the fair value, right? So it's not even necessarily diminishing because it wasn't diminishing from here to here or from here to here, right? But hey, we'll see. Let's say the crypto market, goes on until the end of next year, because that's, I think, the most logical thing to expect in this market. End of 2025, the upper band will be sitting at $46 trillion. Okay, like that's a lot, right? That's really a lot. Then again, 3 out of the 4 bull markets, that happened, right? So it sounds impossible. Yeah, it's a 12x from this point. I mean, it's crypto, like, I'm not saying it will and it probably won't, but I'm also saying, like, don't try to think too fast that things are impossible, because in crypto, I don't know, crypto kind of in the last 11 years has proven to me that nothing is impossible. Dogecoin going to almost $1 was one of the things. I had like millions of those. But let's take a real quick look. Sorry, somebody was calling me on Telegram. I had to block that guy. But let's say we go kind of halfway there like we did last bull market, right? That's so far the worst case scenario. Well, here, we went kind of 10x above the fair value, right? Let's say we do half of that. So we do 5x. Let's say that this is diminishing, right? So here the fair value was sitting at $700 billion and we went to 7 trillion. Right? By the end of 2025, the fair value will be sitting at, kind of depends where you take it exactly from, 4.5/5 trillion, let's say $5 trillion. Let's say we do 5x from that. That's $25 trillion. That's still like crazy a lot, like really a lot. But that's also super diminishing as well. If we want to go completely bear mode, then we can say like, yeah, okay, we do just 2x from the fair value, right? Like we go above it, but just by a little bit. But well, in every bull market, you see, we go like, we skyrocket, explode above it. So let's say 10 trillion. Yeah, if that would be bearish according to this, right? But it does lie, that it's where the 4.618 comes in. So this is not even that much of a bullish target. And I know it's really hard to add trillions and trillions of dollars. And then again, if you look at the total crypto market, yeah, here we went to 600 billion. So people may have said like, yeah, we go to maybe 1 trillion and that's it. And we went to 3 trillion. Like we added hundreds of billions as well over there, right? So I don't know. Don't be too bearish. Be bullish enough, actually. Let's say we go to 10 trillion, right? The 3.618, 4.618, somewhere there. I think you understand why I say that this is not even that bullish necessarily. And we dominate, the altcoin market dominates 30% of that. Because again, that's what I think is most, realistic. Yeah, that's around $3 trillion for the altcoin market. It's now at 300 billion. Yeah, we have a 10x to go. Then again, if we look, where were we in November 2020? We were sitting at 40 billion. And we eventually went to 500 billion. We did a 12x from that point. At this stage of the market, it did another 12x, right? So this would be actually a 9x, give or take, 8 even. Right? So also that should be diminishing then. So my super bear target is like, bear case is $1 trillion actually. That's if something is kind of wrong. And if things play out like they always play out, in a way more calm way, in a way more suppressed way, but then I would say let's call that realistic, because we don't want to get our hopes up, of course, too much. Then I would say 3 trillion. Now, I'm not going to talk necessarily about my bull case, because a bull case, it is not even unrealistic, but it sounds unrealistic, right? People will say, oh, you asshole, it's never going to happen, whatever. But if we look at that, then you could say like, well, I mean, upper band sits at 40 trillion. We went 10x right here. Let's say we do 5x right here this time, right? Also super diminishing. Then it would be sitting at $25 trillion. Yeah, if the altcoin market, dominates with 30% of that, then it would be 7.5 trillion. So let me write it down actually. Bull, 7.5 trillion. That's not like that weird necessarily. It sounds weird. I know a lot of people now feel like, dude, never gonna happen. But have you witnessed an alt season yet and a full bull market? Because if you went through that, you know that it's getting like scary, like how hard and how fast things can move actually. It's really scary. You'd be like, what the fuck? This cannot be normal, right? But that's kind of what a bull market does. But let's stick to the bear case, right? $1 trillion. Like that's kind of like what I think, that if you expect that, then things from there can only be better. And if you look like, hey, from this top to this top, it did a 500% gain, right? If you also look from this top to that 1 trillion, that would be a 100% gain, right? That's diminishing as fuck. And if we go to 3 trillion, that would be a 500% gain, right? That's the realistic case, what I call it. And if we go to 7.5 trillion, that would be a 1400% gain from that point. So that's what I think. It is not impossible, but also not something that I feel like, okay, yeah, let's do that, right? So 1 trillion should be very doable for the altcoin market, at least. Now, how are your altcoins going to respond if that happens? Well, then you kind of want to look like, hey, how did my altcoins respond so far when the market moved? Right, so the altcoin market, in this market, right, let's not compare to the previous market, but this market where we're in right now, then we know how your altcoins actually respond. From the bottom to the top, did a 430% gain. Okay. Then just look, and I said this before, I think, but I do think it's pretty important. Then just look at your altcoin and compare like, hey, what was that move? So for example, I still have it here, by the way. AVAX slightly outperformed, right? 660%. So if we go to 1 trillion from this point, that's another 200% gain, right? So like twice as less as what we already saw. Well, but that's from this point, right? So then you can look at AVAX and you can be like, okay, then AVAX could realistically gain, right? It's going to be not exactly that number, of course, that wouldn't make sense, but realistically you could expect from this point that AVAX could gain another 330%, give or take. And that could put AVAX at, let's say, $100, right? And that's like, I think for some projects, that's kind of how you can do the calculation. And of course, AVAX in the next leg could be an outperformer compared to what it did over here because, hey, news, right? Whatever, fundamentals that you want to give it. AVAX now has a lot of gaming adoption and gaming is going to pick up and et cetera, and it's getting more popular and people that miss Solana might step to AVAX, or somebody in the comments said Sui. That's also possible, by the way, but AVAX is definitely showing that strength, right? So could be that AVAX is, of course, going to do way more than that. But that's kind of realistically how you can take a look at that. Now, it's not like that's the math and that's what's going to happen. Because if you, for example, take a look at Solana, yeah, that already has been an outperformer, right? From the moment that the altcoin market gained this much, yeah, Solana gained a lot more, right? That was from this point until where we are right now, 2,000%. Yeah, it's not that Solana is going to gain another 1,300% from this point. Solana probably already had most of its run, right? But I think that if you apply this, then you can take a little look for yourself, like, hey, what can we realistically expect for the altcoin market? And again, you have to take in consideration that the rotation is also happening, right? So, yeah, a lot of low caps, for example, didn't move hard because the rotation wasn't happening. And part of that reason is, for example, that Solana, took all that market share. Solana, if you look actually what Solana gained, then you can kind of understand why low caps were lagging. And that's always the case, right? But then you can maybe give it a little narrative for yourself if you like narratives. If you look at Solana, it went from $8 to $250 or so. And that sounds like great, right? That sounds fantastic. Why am I logged in? I'm always exposing my freaking holdings. Go away. If you like narratives a little bit, you could also look at this. If we take a look at Solana market cap, you can see that Solana kind of went from, 6 billion, right? This low 6 billion to 120 billion, right? So Solana gained $140 billion market cap. So $140 billion that went in from whatever, Bitcoin, altcoins, cash, doesn't matter, into Solana instead of altcoins. Because if you look, the total altcoin market cap outside of the top 10 is 330 billion. That all the money that moved in Solana was basically more than a third than the complete rest of the altcoin market. So therefore, the rotation is going to be epic, right? It's not only Bitcoin money and Ethereum money that flows into these low caps, but also these high caps like Solana, XRP, Cardano. People eventually take money out of there and feel like, yeah, what's there left to gain, really, right? Let's take a little more risk and let's go for some more reward and put it into the low caps. That's where the altcoin market really is going to fly. Now, it's a dangerous game that you're playing, to wrap it up, because, low caps, they suck, man. Low caps, they sometimes, you have no idea which ones are going to do great and which ones are going to completely suck, actually. For example, there's one project that I'm kind of feel like, oh, what the fuck are you doing? And that's Engine Starter right now. Engine Starter, I don't know what's going on right there, but to give you a little disclaimer, I talked about Engine Starter before, as that was my real moonshot. However, if you look at DEX tools for Engine Starter, for the people that might be in, other people don't care maybe, they have no liquidity anymore. They took the liquidity from the ETH chain, from the BNB chain, and I'm not saying that Engine Starter is a rug pull, but I am saying that if it's not a rug pull, then they fucking suck for taking liquidity and not even letting people know why they do that, right? And that's the danger. That's not really what's happening. Like, okay, last cycle it happened to Luna as well, but overall you don't see that happen to high caps that much. Therefore, Luna was such great news because it was a big coin. While this happens to lower coins every day and nobody's talking about it because nobody cares or knows these coins in the first place, right? So with the lower cap coins, yeah, there will be way more reward with these lower cap coins, and they're gonna explode in a bull market really hard. But even if it is a bull market, it isn't a guarantee that every low cap altcoin is gonna make you money. So be a little careful with that, have a good combination of those. And I think that if you manage your expectations, but also to the upside, and you don't expect too less in this bull market, you can do really well. Sometimes FUD is a good thing. For example, with PAL, right? They had a proposal to merge with another project, and it wasn't necessarily beneficial for the holders, and it dumped with like 70% in a day. It was absolutely crazy. But I felt like back then, like, okay, you know, I don't think this is the end, so let's buy a little bit. And now it's already up 140% from that point as well. So also bad news could have a good opportunity for you in this market as well. So again, let me know the kind of altcoins you would like me to take a look at, and I can try to give, well, not even price predictions, but just what I think is realistic for such an altcoin to expect. Again, let's not call everything to do 100x, but also let's not say like, things are going to do a 5x and that's it. Let's stay a little realistic, and we can expect a lot of great things. So for now, like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, and I'll see you in the next one.